Today we're going to learn with PMP stories, and today's story is all about the air traffic controller and the PMO. Now let's set the scene. Think about the airport you usually take off from. I want you to see yourself at the terminal, sitting down, coffee in hand, you're looking out the window at the runway and all the planes. And you see planes are lined up to go take off. On the other side, planes are steadily landing, one after another after another. And as you see that, you see planes taking off. How is this happening? And tons of other planes are just taxiing around the airport, nice and easy, getting to their terminals to take their people away. Now, when you sit back, take a sip of your coffee, and you say, who the heck's in charge? Who makes sure that each of those flights, carrying hundreds of lives, gets where it's supposed to go safely and on time? And as you take another sip, and I'll do it to play along with you, all right? Pops in your head, you know, that's the role of the air traffic controller. They're sitting up in that little tower over there. They got all those radar screens and stuff. And in project management, the role of the air traffic controller, I want you to see it as the PMO, or the project management office. So when you see PMO from now on or hear it, I want you to think air traffic controller. See them in that tower, right? Let's talk about some of the details. Air traffic control, from the airport perspective, it's kind of a miracle when you think about it. It's wild. You got thousands of planes in the sky at any moment. Each one of those planes has its own crew, its own passengers, and its own unique destination, right? And yet, they've developed a system that keeps it all aligned. The air traffic controllers, they don't fly the planes. They're not doing remote control there. They don't serve the meals or fuel the engines. What they do is something that I would say is even more critical, right? It really is, because there's lives at stake. They provide guidance, coordination, and safety kind of direction so that every plane can fulfill its mission without colliding with another. They manage what I bet they call their airspace, right? And then here's where it should be going off in your head, where the connections hit. In project management, every project, what's it like? It's like a plane on a trip. It has a start, an end. That destination is unique to it, and it has a team on board to deliver the value of a safe transport, right? But when you've got dozens of projects, if you will, flying all at once inside the company, all in the airspace, that's when you need a PMO. Just like you would never set up an airport and not have an air traffic control department. You need a PMO to keep everything organized. That's the beauty of it. Now let's make some ties, some connections, right? I want you to see PMO as the air traffic controller. I want you to see the pilots as the project managers. So the pilots flying the planes, are you out there, the project managers? And what do you focus on? What do they focus on? They're focused on their specific flight, their specific project, navigating the turbulence in the air and on the project, you know the deal, and making sure that their passengers arrive safely, right? And that your project finishes on time and delivers the value that you need to deliver it, right? So pilots or project managers, submit it in your brain. You can even put yourself, go out there and buy one of those little pilot hats. Wear it during the day. You'll stand out and you'll never forget it that way. Now, okay, another layer. Air traffic control, that's the PMO, right? You know that, seeing that tower, that's the PMO in the company, directing traffic in a sense. They see the bigger picture. They can see the radar. They can see the distance, and they can see out in a while because they got to think that way. They keep the flights, they keep the projects from colliding. They decide which plane can land first, which project in what order is done. How do we prioritize resources and efforts and all this jazz so that nothing gets drained of fuel, right? And which ones need to be prioritized and need to land and need to finish and all that stuff. Really, in the plane sense, they think about which ones circle, which ones need to be rerouted, what changes need to be made so that everybody comes home safe and delivers value in the project sense. And as we go up a level higher, the airlines, United, Delta, Spirit, wherever you play, that's just the overall company, the organization, right? And what do they care about? They want their planes, their investments, the way they deliver value to deliver what they're trying to deliver value safely, right? That's what the company wants as well. They care about efficiency, cost, getting the passengers, the value delivered every time. And the PMO, to help do that, Obviously, they don't fly projects, right? They're not flying like the controllers don't fly planes. The PMO doesn't fly projects, but kind of without the PMO or that kind of focus, projects may bump into each other. They may duplicate efforts. They may fight for resources, and all that's waste. That's grit in the system, and we don't want that. And just like planes would collide without someone watching them, the projects in a PMO are less likely to have those issues. That's what I want you to understand. And so if we break it down even more of like a, classy type way, not my classes, but boring classes normally, we're going to say some words and I'm going to explain what the definitions are, right? So we're going to break it down. In PMP terms, some of the words that you'll see or things you need to think about in PMO land is governance. Now, governance, I don't know, it doesn't sound great to me, right? It sounds very bureaucratic, overheady, but it doesn't have to be. It's just the standards and the processes that are set up so that every flight or every project follows the same rules. So how are we going to do things? Like our guiding principles are governance to keep us safe, to keep us effective, to keep us delivering value. And PMOs are all about alignment, right? Making sure that every project ties back to the organization's strategies. You'd be amazed when you go into companies how many projects are just pet projects or somebody started them and who knows what. It's like the first thing you need to do is find the ones that matter, find the ones that don't matter, kill the ones that don't matter, put your efforts in there, get some value out the door. So PMOs help drive alignment, right? And then they also provide that support. Once it's in the air, we're not going to let that plane go on its own. We're going to give it direction. We're going to give assistance. If it needs, emergency help, we're going to get it the help, whatever it is. Same thing with projects. We're going to give project managers the tools, the templates, the guidance. And, the air traffic control has the radar, the weather reports, the clearance to land, all those things that the plane needs. The PMO gives that to the project manager. And here's a big one. The last one to think about is resource management. How many times in your life have you seen projects hoard resources, people, equipment, etc., fight for them, be killed because, or, maimed, if you will, because they couldn't get the resources? So that's a terrible thing. So PMO can help break that down. In the air traffic control style, coordinating crews, gates, runways. You don't want two planes coming in. No, B-25 is mine. No, dude. There's a plan for everything. And in our case, it's all about budgets, people, resources, and time. The PMO can help break that down, be the unifying body that sees the bigger picture and aligns them. So the PMO's job is to make sure all of those moving parts don't fly independently. There are no rogue pilots, right? They have to be safe, they have to be well-defined, and they have to follow the organizational kind of structure and deliver value, all right? Now, to take this to like real land, consulting land, in past where I've worked, I've worked in a consulting environment where we had a client with like tons and dozens of projects happening all at once. Lots of them, right? IT upgrades, they had some process improvement things, they had some new product launches, they had some like at the beginning, some at the end, some who knows where they are. And each team, passionate people, very stressed, very up to their ears working. And they're doing a pretty good job. But they were constantly fighting, colliding, all those things, pulling on the same people. People are swivel chairing like crazy. I'm working on this, I'm working on that. It seemed like everybody was in the same meeting at the same time. Always. You see the same guy, girl, every day. And you're like, who's doing the work if we're all doing the meetings? Schedules are blowing up. Everybody's fighting for attention. They're working harder. And the only answer was really ramp it up, work longer, work harder, sweat, all that junk. Had to change. It was kind of like, you walk in and you're like, dude, there are 30 planes in the sky right now, all trying to land. This is going to go bad. You would never have that in the air traffic control land, right? And so when things finally settled down, when we got it organized, we set up a PMO, we organized everything, we streamlined the process, we set up the governance, all that jazz, trained the people, do boom, 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 everything. The PMO coordinated the priorities, set the standards for how things were reported, and visualized and the frequency they're sent out. And it brought transparency to the projects, to the PMO, to the leadership, and things started to get done out the back door, flow. So suddenly the airspace got clearer. Planes stopped colliding, projects stopped stealing resources, all that jazz. The drama, the politics went down. And so as you start landing projects on time, leadership starts seeing value and giving you more resources. So that's good. It's a winner-winner chicken dinner. So many organizations resist the idea of PMO because every idea which is good can be done in a bad way. It doesn't matter what it is. Like you can drink too much, water, right? They think that PMOs are overhead, too much bureaucracy. And there are plenty that are because they're not being done right. Now, here's the truth. If a PMO is all about red tape, it's being done wrong, right? It should be about safety, alignment, efficiency, value. Think air traffic control. Now, it's not about making sure you have 3 projects competing for the developer or all that different stuff. It's about who is doing what and why. Now, that PMO provides the higher level radar. Think of the air traffic control person with that radar thingy that spins you see in movies. I'm thinking about Airplane, the movie. Probably not the best example of air traffic control, but, it's in my brain. So they see that entire landscape, the portfolio moving forward smoothly. Without it, planes wouldn't be able to do what they need to do, is get stuff done. So the PMO provides value to the projects. Now, the way you would build a strong PMO from a 50,000 foot view so that it actually adds value and it works like air traffic control. Number 1 is visibility. You can't control what you can't see, right? You can't manage what you can't see. So the PMO has to map out the airspace, all the current projects, resources, priorities, have a way to get view now and forever. Then we got to say, what are our standards? Just like pilots follow a checklist, dude. It is not winging it up there. I live in Norfolk, or Virginia Beach, Virginia. Norfolk, Oceana. It's a beautiful place to live if you want to come and see. Like, there are planes all the time. Like, the sound of freedom, they call it. It's awesome, dude. We got jets. We got, we got planes galore, dude. It's like a Navy museum over here, and the Army, whatever, and Coast Guard. We got it all, bro. And so just like, the clear standards that the pilots follow, projects should have that kind of governance, right? And then the PMO can help work with the organizations and the leadership to provide prioritization. Not every project needs to be selected. It's the right ones. We're doing investments. What planes need to take off? And then the support and the policing as we go through. We don't scold pilots to guide them. A good PMO enables project managers rather than tying their hands, makes them better pilots. All right? And then alignment with the strategy, bringing it all together. Projects are not done for the sake of projects. Projects are done for the sake of value. Otherwise, we could take the money and go to Vegas and, I don't know, whatever you do in Vegas, dude, burn it. But we put the money into project to produce more value, to produce more good for our customers and bring resiliency to the company. That's what the PMO is there to do. Help that. So as we close out, the big lesson is that air traffic controllers save lives by managing complexity from above. They don't get in the way. They help guide. PMOs save organizations by managing complexity and think always from above. They see the bigger picture. And as a PMP student, remember, project managers focus on execution. Sorry, I was thinking about thinking. Project managers focus on execution. PMOs focus on the governance, the alignment, and the value delivery. And that links to the project manager, so execution for the sake of value delivery. So it's not about who's more important, project manager or PMO. It's about how they work together, just like pilots and air traffic controllers. Both are essential, both have important roles, and if they work together, which they must, they keep the system moving safely and delivering value. So the next time you're in an airport watching those planes take off and land, think about your projects, think about your organization. Are they all flying safely around toward their destination? Or are they circling aimlessly, fighting for runway airspace? Think about it. If it feels chaotic, maybe, just maybe, your organization isn't in need of more pilots. It's in need of better air traffic controller. And that's the PMO. So think about it. Take those lessons into your questions, and let's do a great job. See you later, alligators.